Hi everybody, Carol here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I am going to be making lattice, and I'm going to use that lattice to make a card. So I had this idea in my head as to how to do it, and it actually worked, so I'm going with it. So I'm going to start with 2 strips of white paper, and there are the measurements, but I will have them again at the end on a still shot so you can look at them. And then the next thing I'm going to do is make some strips, the lattice strips. Now I'm making these actually a 1/4 inch, but I change my mind and I go back later and I make them an 1/8 inch. I think it looks better. And I'm going to have some decoration on this card, and I'm using these dies. That is a Doris Embossing Essentials die called Small Swirl, and then these 2 little Sizzix dies. One is called Scribbles Swirls and the other is called Little Leaves. I'll try to zoom that in so you can see it. And I will set them aside and go ahead and cut out this swirl and run it through, and I will definitely make more than one of these. I run them through this Big Shot machine. And this is one of those dies I find myself using a lot because it's just it's easy, it works well, and it accomplishes the purpose. So now I'm going to have to open this up for the little dies, and I'll put them on here, put the plate on, and then I'm going to have to use a shim with this in my particular machine. You might not have to. So run that on through, and I'll show you how I start to punch these out, and there will be several of them. Now the strips I had, I went ahead and cut, and the size is 1/8 of an inch by 4 inches. And I'm using Tombow Mono Multi Glue and just gluing the tips of each one of those. Now this part is where I measure off where I'm going to place the strips. I literally am going every 3/8 inch. And if you want to, you can just go 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, make a mark. 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, make a mark. Like that. And if that makes it easier for you, but I will have the exact measurements later on, and you can make a still shot of that if you want to. And then I do the same thing on the other little piece. Now I'm going to tape these 2 pieces down, the top and the bottom, onto a scratch sheet of paper. I'm going to end up on the red, but I'm going to tape these down. I'll place them where it's the same size. The green is the same size as the red. I'm going to tape them down where I want them to be on the red, but I didn't have my painter's tape handy, so I just went ahead and went with this cellophane tape in case it tears when I go to take it off. I don't care if it tears the green, but I don't want it to tear my red. And then also this is the back of the white strips, so even if it tears a little off, it won't show because it's on the back. And we're on the back because this is where we're going to place the strips from the back side. Now I have them all glued with this repositionable glue. Once it dries, I say this over and over again, then the Tombow becomes repositionable. And if you put it down and you need to tweak it or move it, you can do that. The first strip at the top goes right on top of the little dot. Down at the bottom, it goes over to the second dot so that we can have a slant. The second one is going to be the same way. The dot, follow down to the dot at the bottom. And I had that one picked up with the glue on the wrong side. So how many times have you done that? And this just goes on, so forth and so on. And I will speed it up, but just to show you how the process works. And if it's not perfect, I don't think it matters. There are going to be things on top of it, and you can always pull it up and tweak it. But this just worked out real slick, and of course you could use a die if you had it, but you won't have the dimension of this crossover on the strips. And so now I will fill in the end down there, but right now I'm going to go back and start on the second row. I put the top right just a tiny bit to the right of the top and to the left of the bottom. Now that's just going directly onto the dot, that one, but all the rest of the pieces slightly to the right and slightly at the bottom, slightly to the left, so they can lie. They're not stacked on top of each other, which it doesn't matter, but that's just a good guideline. Just to the right, right where the white border is, and then come down just to the left and crisscross them just where the border is. It just makes it a neat little mat to the right where the border is, and just to the left at the bottom where the border is. And we're actually getting 2 crisscrosses on this one. So I will speed it up, but you can just see the rhythm, just to the right at the top and just to the left at the bottom, again with that angle. And so I will start filling in the sides. I could always cut it down, but I'm going to go with this way, and so you can see that when you get to the edges, it may not completely fit on the page. You may actually run off the page, but you can glue it down. Now here we go on the other side, and it just barely fits down at the bottom, and I'm going to put a dot of glue there. But if it didn't, I would glue it onto the lattice above it and trim it off. So it's not that difficult. It doesn't have to be just perfect. Now I had this old Stampin' Up! Punch with these flowers, and I thought they would be really good for this. I'm going to put flowers on my lattice. And so these worked out well. I'm sorry I don't remember the name of this. So now I peeled it off of the green with no damage whatsoever, and I'm not gluing it down yet, but I'm going to place it down onto the red and start putting my pieces that have been glued. Now I took a picture with my phone so that I could refer to it from time to time after I set it all out dry, not glued, just to give me a little bit of a guideline as to where I did want to place these. Now here I am going back and trimming off these pieces that stick out. And again, not gluing it down yet, you'll see, but I'm just putting on all the flowers, the flourishes, the swirls, the leaves, and everything's in white in this case. But it would be really cute, I think, with bright colors or really pretty pastels, pinks and blues. So, and also change your background color. So, there you have it. Now I'm flipping it over, and I'm going to use this Sizzix foam adhesive sheets, and I'm cutting it in strips. I'm putting one at the top and bottom at the edge, and then a thinner one at the top and bottom right up against the lattice. I want to be sure I have that dimension so the lattice stands away from the background, and you'll get the shadow and you can see it will look more like a lattice in my opinion if it's away from the background. So here we go. I'm going to pull off the strips at the top and go ahead and place it carefully, because once it's down, it's down. And also the bottom, if anything's loose, you can always go back and tweak it with a little dot of glue. And that's what it looks like up close. So I wanted to show that I did go back with a little dot of glue where some of these lattice strips meet, and took my tweezers there or whatever I had to just kind of mash them together in case the lattices on the back needed a little support. And so I don't know if it was necessary, but I did it. So there's my card base. This is a 4.5 by 6 1/4 card, an A6. I wanted to show you how that foam tape really did give it some dimension. And then to even further show you, I picked up a strip of paper so you can see how much space is back there. And you can see it. You can tell it up close. Now I made another card just flat, no dimension, no foam tape behind it, I should say. And these are the same size strips, but they're farther apart. Okay. And so just to show another way that it could be made, whichever one you might like better, or for whatever occasion, whatever colors it might make a difference. Just made it, so I wanted to show it to you. Now, this is an A6 envelope, and it will fit in there. I wanted to show you. However, I do believe if I were going to mail it, I'd go ahead and cut the little leaves off flush so they wouldn't just, get bent. But it will go in there anyway, and so it is totally mailable. So I wanted to show you. Now here's a still shot of the measurements exactly. If you want to use that, you certainly may. And whatever you want to do. These are the other still shots. I hope you enjoyed it. I loved working on this, and so maybe you'll give it a try. That's up close, the detail that's on all the flourishes. You can't necessarily see that well on white. But there are some other videos at the end. I hope you'll give them a look. Thanks for joining me. See you next time. Bye-bye.